गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. Yesterday in Bhagavatam a unique sadhana was given. The whole creation came from the Divine Lord. How did it come from the Divine Lord? The Divine Lord desired. When he desired, that desire, that potentiality, that capacity, that ability, that possibility, that desire is called Shakti. So the Lord desired, that desire is called the Shakti. That Shakti expresses as the three. What are these three? These three are the at the totality level. What are these three? They are the Saraswati, the Lakshmi, and the Parvati. That Ishvara, with respect to Saraswati, the feminine energy, is called Brahma. With respect to Lakshmi, he is called Vishnu, and with respect to Parvati, he is called as Shiva. What are their roles? Brahmaji's role is to create, Vishnu's role is to maintain, and Shiva's role is to destroy, even though that is constructive destruction. Who came first? They were simultaneous. But you cannot have maintenance and destruction without creation, isn't it? That is your observation of life. That for maintenance and destruction, first you need creation. I can destroy this piece of equipment only because it has been created. I cannot destroy that which has not been created. But we are not going into destruction. We are good people. So, how did this creation come about? Now that Brahmaji, that Vishnu, that Shiva, at an individual level, they are the gods. That's what our Puranas say. But at individual level, how do I make it my own? The Brahmaji at the individual level is the dreamer. Vishnu at the individual level is the waker. And Shiva at the individual level is the sleeper. These are the three states that you go through every day. Waking, dream, deep sleep. Waking, dream, deep sleep. Waking, dream, deep sleep. So these three, your body in waking state is different. Your body in dream state is different. And in deep sleep state you have got no body. See? Now, why did I give you this information? I gave you this information so that we become clear as to our purpose. Our purpose as a seeker is what? Are we seeking, when we think of the Lord, are we seeking the world? This is our natural disposition. Or what do you call? You have put on this disposition that you think of the Lord, you go to the temple, you do the pujas because you want something in return, some result in the outside world. And why do we do that? Because we have accepted that the world outside is separate from me. We have accepted the world outside is separate from me. This piece of equipment is separate to me. Yesterday I bought this light. It was not available in my reality, and I found that there is something that can enhance the picture, so I bought it. Why? It is separate from me. This laptop is separate from me. You are separate from me. So in this manner, I desire only that which is separate from me. And in that category, we have put the Lord also. If we become a seeker, we want to seek the Lord, we want to surrender to the Lord, we want to become one with the Lord. Why? The presupposition here is Lord is separate from me. And that habit of gaining, interacting with the world, gaining the experiences, having contact, that is percolated even when we think of the divinity, that divinity is separate to me, the reality is separate to me, the Ishvara or the God is separate to me, and therefore I must become one with him. And this presupposes that the reality is separate. And this will continue till we do not change our conviction. And for that change, for that shift in our understanding, the scriptures come into our life. And yesterday we saw last 2 weeks actually, 2 Saturdays, we saw very thrilling. I enjoyed that because something that I have observed in my sadhana. And that is, there it was told that when the Brahma was born, Brahmaji, the creator, was born, just like this morning when you were born, I'll keep making it subjective. When you are born means when you woke up. Where did you wake up from? Sleep. You were non-existent to this body as this body when you were in sleep. In sleep there are no thoughts of body, of past, of future, of your projects that you want to sit in meditation, nothing like that. But when you woke up, for the first few seconds, first few minutes, depending upon each person, there is a period of silence. There is a period of quietude, a natural quietude which is not forced or enforced. And thereafter, after some time, the mind clicks into activity and starts thinking, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do this, I have to do that. So this, now we are looking at the totality. Brahmaji, the creator, came out of the Ishvara. When he came out, what did he see everywhere? Nothing. He looked in front, there was emptiness. He looked to the left, emptiness. He looked to the right, emptiness. He looked to the back, emptiness. Wherever he looked, there was emptiness. Just as when you wake up in the morning, your mind is also empty for few minutes, seconds, whatever. It has not clicked in. It is that moment when your eyes are closed, you are awake, but you are still lying in the bed. At that time, when Brahmaji came out, he didn't see anything. So what did he do? He thought, oh, then why am I here? What I have to do? What is my purpose? And therefore he started doing tapasya. He became self-aware. When there is nothing other than you to observe, where will your attention go? It will go to yourself. You can do this experiment with yourself. In a dark room, your idea is there is chair, there is fan, there is light, there is camera, there is table, there is chair, there is this body. Now you put the light off. It's pitch dark. In that pitch darkness, there is nothing for your eyes to see. What will you see then? If there is nothing to see separate from yourself, you will become aware of your own eyeballs. See, your attention goes to the source of vision. Similarly, when mind has nothing to see, nothing to think, there is no objectivity, then what will mind do? It will contemplate on its own source. But it doesn't know what its own source is. There also there is emptiness. What is our mind? Mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankar. So there are no thoughts of mind or intellect or memories or expectations or anything. It's empty at the moment. And now slowly it's coming into activity. So Brahmaji, the creator, he started thinking about himself, thinking work. And he closed his eyes. He is awake. There's nothing to perceive. He becomes available to himself. The moment he became available to himself, his attention went on to this continuous humming sound in his head. Now you close your eardrums with your fingers and you will hear, do it now, and you will hear a humming sound in your head. Do this experiment to know that that sound is there. And it is a continuous one without a break. It is not going and then silence. No, it is continuously going on. That Brahmaji, meaning our intellect, Brahmaji has 4 heads. Our mind also has 4 heads. What are they? Mind, intellect, memory, and ego. They all became aware, conscious, available to this natural, unbroken sound. See? And there was no distraction. When there was no distraction, his focus was complete. He was available to this sound. And where did this sound come from? He doesn't know from where it came from. Our mind also doesn't know. When you are hearing it, you only know the sound which comes out of our mouth. But when you close your ears, the sound which is coming, where is it coming from? What is its source? There it was told, it is the source of the unmanifest. The source is the unmanifest. What is that source? Unmanifest. Unmanifest is the potential of the divine. See? So divine invokes his potentiality that potentiality is expressing as this sound. Without that divine, potentiality cannot express, and without potentiality the sound cannot, this continuous sound which is the natural, like in the music, when you go to learn music they put that shruti so that you can get the correct meter, the sound that you need to bring out. Saregama padanisa, sari, whatever there is, I don't know, but that shruti is there. So like this, inside us there is this continuous shruti going on. Brahmaji became available to that. As he became focused on it, meaning if we become focused on it, we don't have to create anything, we don't have to take support of anything outside. This sound is within my head, within my mind. In fact, it is the natural sound of the creation. It is the unstruck sound. It is the soundless sound, and yet you can't see any two things banging against each other in order for sound to be created. You don't know where it is beginning from and where it is ending because it is continuous. You can't see it going through the flux of up and down, and sometimes it's stopping, sometimes it's beginning. No, it's continuous. Close your ears, you can hear it. That is why in yoga they try to catch this sound, they do the Bhramari exercise. Bhramari is closing your two lips, closing your nostrils, closing your eyes, and with the thumb closing your eardrums. So all your senses are closed, and then they do their they are forcing this sound, and that vibration of is reverberating throughout your skull, and one goes into meditation. It pushes away all the unwanted thoughts from the mind, but it should not be done too many times, maybe 5, 6 enough. Otherwise you will start getting headache if you start forcing it. But here we are not doing it, it's there already. And Brahmaji, when he saw that, focused on it, became available to it, that unstruck sound became a sound which he could hear. And what was the first expression of this soundless sound? With no beginning and no end. When it manifested, just like you have you have thoughts in your mind, other people don't know it, but when you open your mouth, that thought becomes a word in your mouth, isn't it? Same way, go one step back. This is the soundless sound. When it expresses in your mind, what is the first expression of this sound? It is Om. And this Om is the syllable which Brahmaji heard, the Creator heard. And as he focused on that Om sound, which is naturally erupting in his mind, naturally, he didn't even know that there was something called Om. It came to him. He focused on it, he's listening to it, it's going on. Then that Om became the vowels and the consonants. And these vowels and consonants combined together to create the language. What was the first language? The first language was the Vedas. And what are the Vedas talking about? They are talking about how everything in this creation is nothing but that one reality. The main purpose of the Vedas is this: to show us, to express the oneness of creation. And what is an individual? Individual feels this creation is equal to manyness. So therefore our sadhana will be what? There it was Brahmaji, and he allowed the creation to express by focusing on the natural sound, the unstruck sound, and that expressed as Om, and then as that Om again expressed, it expressed as the vowels and the consonants. Vowels and consonants join together to form words, words join together to form the sutras, paragraphs, stories, and with every letter in the Sanskrit language, there is one aspect of creation. So, where has the creation come from? From Om. Where has Om come from? The unmanifest Shakti. Where has unmanifest Shakti come from? From the divine. She is the potential of the divine. Then what should be our sadhana? To recognize that this entire creation of names and forms, the different aspects of this creation are from Om. But what are we doing? We want to accumulate the world. We want to accumulate the experiences. Instead, and that accumulation can never give us the fulfillment of life. Go back to the source. What is the source? Om of the entire creation. So focus on Om, chant Om, see where it begins and where it ends, and let it reveal you the source. And that source cannot be other than the conscious principle that is within. Om has the capacity to take you to the source and also to show you, to give you the experience that everything in this world is nothing but that divine reality. This is the power of Om. Then why would you think of anything else? It's only because you think of the world only because you don't believe that, or you don't have the conviction within yourself to pursue the Om or to know, to see. You don't have the vision, the perception power to see that the reality within and without is one and the same. The subject and object is one and the same, which is pure consciousness. So bring yourself today, without going too much into detail about it, now keeping your back, neck and head in a straight line, eyes closed. Access this sound, be available to this sound within your head, and allow it to take you back to the source. If you can't hear the sound, chant Om. How do you chant Om? Pranavam dirgha uccharyam. Elongated chanting of Om. Elongated chanting, how it is done? With the outgoing breath. Not with the incoming breath, with the outgoing breath. And chant Om only if you can't hear that sound. That continuous which is going on in our head. If you can't hear it, then you chant Om. It will lead to this sound. And this sound will take you back to yourself. Or it will bring about that disposition where we become available to ourselves. So that will be the exercise. Why did we give you all these details if the exercise was only this much? So that we develop in our mind, we become convinced of the importance of this. The importance to see that the inside and outside is one. And that oneness between the inside and outside, the total and individual, the known and the unknown, the limited and the unlimited, can be brought about, even though it is always one, but our vision of it is as separate. So how can we make it one? What can we do? Because we are so addicted to doing. Listen to this sound like Brahmaji did, or chant Om. The oneness will reveal itself. Hari Om. Now you can sit with yourself.